Hey everybody, welcome to Wisdomella. Today, we're going to be going over 9 tips for setting healthy boundaries in the workplace. While there are some bosses out there that secretly want their employees to eat, sleep, and breathe their jobs, work should not define nor consume a person's life. Our work is not who we are. But because we spend our time and energy in our professions, it is important to establish and maintain healthy boundaries so that we can thrive. Many are working from home due to the state of our world at this time. Because of this, it is getting even harder and harder for people to disconnect from work and keep their home and work life separate. So, here's a few tips that will help you set those work boundaries and keep your sanity. Watch until the very end because some of these might actually be ones you've never heard of. Be clear and upfront in your communication. Being upfront and clear with your communication can help reduce misunderstandings. How can you and your coworkers efficiently work together if things are left for interpretation? How can you and your boss be on the same page if an open door policy is not established? When you are asserting boundaries with a colleague, try to avoid attaching apologies to them. When you do that, you sound apologetic for doing your job. It's not necessary. Don't dilute your communication. It's okay to be assertive. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to offer your perspective. You're human, and you have a job to do. When you're clear and upfront with your communication, you set the tone and encourage your colleagues to do the same. Know your worth. If you start feeling inadequate or begin to second-guess your value, this can bleed into how you operate at work. You might start working extra hours, take on more projects than you should, or say yes to all requests just to make yourself indispensable. But doing this will condition your boss and your coworkers to expect this kind of output without any extra pay or other incentives. Don't sell yourself short. When you know your worth, you will set boundaries for what you will and will not do for a paycheck. Your skill set, experience, insight, and energy are valuable. You have to protect your well-being and pay attention to how you feel. If something is too much or not what you were expecting, speak up. Remember, you are your best advocate. Establish your non-negotiables. Let's face it, even work decisions have consequences and trade-offs. When you say yes to some, you are saying no to something else. Like, saying yes to working overtime on the weekend means saying no to enjoying your weekends off. Or, saying yes to being available outside of work hours means saying no to having uninterrupted family time without your boss calling you. If you are not aware of the trade-offs, you might end up regretting some of those decisions. One way to avoid this is to make a list of your work non-negotiables, things that are an absolute no-no for you. With this list, you're able to identify what is important to you. An absolute must. Establishing and communicating these non-negotiables, especially early on, can help you protect your priorities and avoid building animosity towards your boss for constantly calling you to complete projects. Make sure your work relationships stay professional. Now, sometimes you can't help but to constantly click with a coworker and become work BFFs. But be careful with creating friendships and romantic relationships in the workplace. Those type of work relationships can get a bit iffy if you're not paying attention to the boundaries. Last thing you want is messiness and drama in the workplace, especially if you're involved. While building camaraderies in the workplace can create bonds and boost morale, remember to make sure that those relationships remain professional overall. These interactions shouldn't affect your work or your well-being in a negative way. Also, they should not create an awkward environment for your other colleagues. After all, they have to work there too. So yeah, don't make it weird. Watch out for burnout. Unmanaged workplace stress is a key ingredient to burnout. Your energy gets zapped. Your passion gets depleted. It just all around sucks. Oftentimes, Burnout can cause people to become negative and resentful towards their work, clients, or their colleagues. And who wants to work in an environment where everyone is on edge? Not me, If left unresolved, burnout can lead to irritability, depression, tiredness, insomnia, and other health problems. The last thing we want is for you to be frazzled and overwhelmed. Burnout can affect your mental distance and decrease your mental wellness. And you already know we care about your wellness. Sometimes setting aside to take mental breaks throughout the workday can decrease your chances of burnout. Whether you step away from the screen to go and talk to a close coworker for a few minutes, or you get up to do some light stretching in the break room. Even workhorses need breaks. Yeah, you workhorses, you need breaks. Burnout should not be ignored and should be taken seriously. Let us know in the comments section below if you would like us to make a detailed video on how to spot and recover from work burnout. If you're liking what you're learning so far, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get more wisdom nuggets. Okay, let's get back into the video. Say no when needed. Sometimes saying no can be the hardest part of setting healthy boundaries, especially in the workplace. The last thing you want to do is seem difficult or not look like a team player. But exercising your ability to say no at work is so important. Remember, you have a right to say no if a task is either too much for you to handle or if it's outside of your scope of abilities or responsibilities. Or if you're being asked to do something that goes against your beliefs. Think about whether the work you're being asked to do will advance your career path or bring you closer to achieving your goals. If it won't, you have a right to respectfully turn it down. Putting your foot down is necessary in these instances. When you don't, you are compromising your non-negotiables and leaving room for others to overstep your boundaries because you are allowing them to. Whatever you value, make it apparent. Set those standards. And if your no's are not being respected, you might want to consider preparing for your departure. Schedule quick breaks. Scheduling quick breaks throughout the day can help you take a step back to recollect yourself. Setting this work boundary is beneficial to your mental and physical health. Although it may seem like a good idea to push through the workday without breaking or going to lunch, you're actually jeopardizing your performance. And you'll be hungry. Step away from your desk and detach from your work thoughts, even if it's for a couple of minutes. Listen to your body and don't push yourself too hard. And don't go to your coworker to vent about a problem, as it will be counterproductive to reducing your stress. The key to having good quick breaks is experiencing positive emotions. Blood flow can increase in different areas of your brain and help you focus better when you go back to work. Our bodies need time to recharge and recover from the strains of work, even if the breaks are for a short period of time. There are psychological costs to working yourself to the bone and depleting your energy. Accomplishing your work task is not worth your mental or physical state. Don't bring your personal drama to work. On top of your work performance suffering because of it, bringing your personal drama to work can make the overall environment unpleasant. We get that life happens outside of work, but if you allow it to negatively affect your job, your coworkers might have to pick up the slack. And if you're constantly venting to your coworkers about it without any resolution, you are cultivating more drama. Try not to do that. It's just, well, selfish. Yes, I said the S word, selfish. Don't be that. You might be imposing on coworkers' boundaries. Depending on the weight of the situation, you might end up stressing your coworkers out with it. This can create tension and cause animosity to grow in the workplace. When one coworker is suffering, it becomes the whole team's problem. If you are dealing with a problem and now it is affecting your work, it might be time to talk to your boss. Of course, you don't have to go into the nitty-gritty details, but letting them know you're struggling can give them insight as to why your performance has changed. They may be able to offer solutions like a wellness day or reduce workload so that you can focus on what is going on at home. But of course, it is better to remedy the situation before it gets out of hand and spills into the workplace. Silence your notifications. If one of your non-negotiables is separating personal time from work time, make sure you silence your notifications when you're off work. Your personal time is valuable and shouldn't be imposed on. No one wants their family time or quiet time interrupted by phone calls, text messages, and notifications of your work team talking about work. We suggest removing or silencing work applications like Blink and Slack from your personal devices, even work emails. Having these apps are great at work, but it can be a pain in the butt after hours. Building this healthy boundary can help you separate work from home life, especially if you're working remotely. Many smartphones these days have options to silence certain apps and group text messages. That way, you don't have to delete them altogether. Or better yet, you can hit your coworkers with a do not disturb entirely. To each their own. So guys, what do you think? Which one of these healthy boundary tips are you guilty of not doing? And which ones do you think you need to implement the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss wisdom nuggets like this and much more. See you in the next video.